bro, it is cold. I am all bundled up. I got the fuzzy hoodie on, the insulated hoodie. I got a beanie on. It got absolutely 100% full send winter. Like it's cold, but that's fun. A lot of people don't go out to the lake, so we get a little more kind of full access, full send out on the lake. And I like it when it's like that. It's absolutely beautiful out there. You're up there for the sunset, dude, and it's bitter, but it's so crisp and gorgeous. I love winter fishing, and you always have a shot at a giant, which is super fun. But I want to talk to you about something. I was trolling around YouTube, and I saw like no videos on this topic. So as we all know, winter fishing, unless you're in Florida, like worm fishing, you know, even like robo worms and finesse worms like that, ain't very good, dude. Like I love throwing an ace, a ribbon tail, a stick bait, all that kind of stuff. But with water temperatures, when they start dipping into like 50, under 50, mid 50s, like the soft plastic game kind of goes to the toilet, dude. But the one thing that I have been doing, if you guys have been watching the videos, is I've been doing a lot of dropping on fish. And what that means is, I got my rig right here. This is a 610 KS2 medium action spinning rod, you know, your classic sort of finesse setup. Got it with that Abu Garcia Xenon, super soft drag on it, 3/8 ounce drop shot weight, Aaron Martin's Gamakatsu drop shot hook, rest in peace, buddy. But your classic finesse rig, and basically what I've been doing is flipping to sort of structure fish or fish that I see on my forward-facing sonar. And it's one of the few ways that I really think, other than maybe like a shaky head, or I'm not so much talking about like swim bait fishing, like Kitex and that, but maybe throwing a shaky head, you might catch some. But it's one of the few ways you actually catch soft plastic fish during the winter, even before like the pre-spawn and kind of like that spring sort of staging action. There's not that many videos on little finesse minnow baits, kind of like my little secret stash I got right here. We'll dump that joker out. I think I lost one. Uh-oh. Well, you're not gonna see one, right? But I'm gonna go through and kind of show you the ones that I've picked out that are super supple, perfect for that cold water, because when you get really cold water, it takes a lot of action away from the soft plastics. So they're super supple, they're straight, they're finesse, they're very subtle, but it's a great way to catch some fish, especially if you're into using forward-facing sonar during the winter on soft plastics, if you like fishing that way. So hit that like and subscribe button and let's get to it. So I've been experimenting with these ever since we did our up north trip to go smallmouth fishing. And what I've found is kind of interesting. It worked for smallmouth, super viable for smallmouth, but dude, spots and largemouth in the winter, absolutely love this deal. So power bait max scent, basically it's a small shad-like lure. I don't even want to open it up because they stink so bad. I think the biggest appeal with these guys is the flavor. Like these things are packed with scent. And if you got a little bit more stained water, these are a great way to go. I find in the ultra clear water, the colors that are available, they don't really have like a transparent color, and that's really what's been viable for me during this winter session. They don't have really good color selection because of the way the plastic's made up, but if you have fish that won't close the deal on some of these other minnow baits that I'm showing you, maybe it is a scent or a taste thing, these things do get more bites when it comes to those fish being up close and personal and closing the deal. The other one that I've been really liking, you know, we talked about Kitex swim baits a little bit. These guys, Kitex, I didn't even know they made this until I went crazy on Tackle Warehouse the other day. So this is called the Shad Impact. This is the 3-inch version. It's very small. This one also stanks, just like a Kitex. But it is basically a super supple, little minnow looking, shad looking bait. Has that nice drawn down, super straight tail like that. All of these baits I'm gonna show you get tore up easy and quick. But there's a very good reason for that. When you're dealing with water temps in the 50s and the 40s, the cold water, just how it makes you kind of frigid and tightens up your muscles and you don't want to move as fluidly, it does the same thing to soft plastics. So the softer the soft plastic you can find, the better action you're going to get, the more subtle action you're going to get in that ultra cold water. I have this guy in a few different patterns. One's actually going to surprise you. So this is like a shad, let's see what it's actually called, Pro Blue Red Pearl. Sounds just like a 2.8 Kitex that I throw, right? I also got it in they're very gooey, dude. In Ayu, basically this is a little more of I guess like a green sort of top basin with a little bit of pearl mixed in. I use that more on like Gunnersville, where you have a little more color to the water. And then this is the sneaky one that's gonna surprise you. This is OG black. This is a trick that my buddy Miles Murray taught me. So just straight black. And it's not because I want it to look like a leech or something like that. The trick with this is, especially if you have slightly stained water or if it's super clear, spots absolutely love black. It's because of the depth or the silhouette you get in the water. So this guy, even though it's not a natural color, when you start getting into slightly stained water or really deep, there isn't that much light penetration, right? So a lot of times these fish aren't so much seeing the bait as they're seeing like the shadow of the bait or the silhouette of the bait. So black casts a very good contrast and a very good silhouette when you're dealing with slightly stained water. And you'd be surprised, even in ultra clear water, it can get some mondo bites, dude. It's a super sneaky deal. So the other one that I got is the Damiki Armor Shad. You guys will know this one for rigging on a Damiki rig, which is basically a small ball head, kind of like the finesse swim bait heads that we use, and then people pitch it out to fish that they see and sort of let it glide or vertically fish it. And that's actually something I should mention. With all of these baits, these are all great Damiki rig baits. Super subtle ones, but basically you can put them on a Damiki head, whatever your choice is. Just make sure it has that 45-degree line tie. And you can vertically fish these as well as pitch them out and do that pendulum or tight line presentation that we talk about with the Kitech all the time. So these guys are a Tennessee shad, and these are the 2.5 inch. I told you that these baits are small. We're trying to basically mimic little minnows and little tiny shad, and oftentimes we're doing it in super clear water. So this is a very, very tiny bait. You can see how much the tail shatters. Reminds you a lot of an extremely downsized Zoom, like Super Fluke. It's transparent. It's tiny. You're going to need to put this on a tiny hook. That's why it works so well on that Aaron Martens. I use a #1, which is a pretty small hook, but it allows me to not miss fish, and especially if they just touch it, like they're hooked. It's a great hook, and it's strong enough to handle catching some bigs, but it's small enough to handle putting some of these smaller baits on. The other one that I'm using, even though I'm not throwing too many RoboWorm worms, what I didn't know is they made this cool little minnow bait just like that. So this is the RoboWorm Alive Shad. I have it in a few different colors. This is baby bluegill. You guys have seen me throw the worms quite a bit in this baby bluegill because it looks absolutely nothing like a bluegill. It looks like a small, like transparent, clear shad kind of deal. It's got that blue in the back, and then it's basically transparent. Once again, a little skinny tail on there. The biggest difference you'll see with the RoboWorm is it's thinner. It's thinner than the Kitech, and then it also is thinner than the Damiki, the Armor Shad. It's a very slight bait. When you put this thing onto, say, a Damiki rig, it's a little tough to get on. On a little circle hook like that Aaron Martens, it's pretty easy to hook through the nose. Just make sure you're hooking it straight because it is a little difficult to get on there correctly. The other color that I have that guy in is the old pink. So like I said, in winter, it doesn't rain that much usually until we hit spring. And pink is one of those colors in clear water, especially for spotted bass and smallmouth, that's absolutely killer. This is your classic Aaron Martin Morning Dawn, or actually this is Breaking Dawn, I'm sorry. But it's a transparent pink style color, super thin, like I said. And once again, it's that RoboWorm plastic. It's super supple because getting bait, soft plastics to act correctly in cold water, it is a challenge, dude. You need ultra soft plastics, and they are gonna tear up pretty quick. So the other guy that I got here, these are probably the most expensive out of all of them, and this is the Jackal, let's see, the Eye Shad. Once again, a great Damiki rig bait, but it's got kind of a cool body on it. Reminds me a lot of what a super downsized spunk shad would look like. So you can see it's got the little kind of like balls on the tail to kind of help that tail gradually shake. Super thin, but a little more cylindrical in the main body. Once again, a little bit smaller too. I don't know if this 2.8 inches, so it's a little under 3 inches. The RoboWorm is a 3-inch deal. This is a little bit more downsized, and because of that taper tail, it is ultra small. These are minnow mimickers in the Prism Shad, which is basically kind of like a green with a pearl belly on it. I love my greenback stuff. Anything that's halfway like green gizzard shad is epic for me. And I keep catching fish on it, otherwise I'd change, but it's pretty standout. So the last one is these guys. These are the junior crush worms. You've probably seen the standard crush worm from NetBait. This does have, as JT would say, it's infused with bait fuel. So a lot like the Berkeley Max Scent, it has that sort of added sort of appeal to make fish bite. Because oftentimes you'll see them come over to your bait and they're like, let me think about this. And then like, nah, dude, I'm out. So having that little extra bump when it comes to bait fuel or using the Max Scent helps. You can always add bait fuel to any of these. But what's cool about the NetBait is the plastic does not pay the price of the scent, I guess you could say. They still have a lot of colors that are more traditional, but also transparent, which is what I gravitate towards. These are actually what's called Smoke and Joe. So you can see it's a very smoky color, but what I really like is they add that little pink purple sort of sploosh in the middle right there. It has a little wider tail, a little more paddle oriented tail. Like I said, we're dropping to these fish, so we're pitching the bait out or dropping it straight under the boat. If you're looking for something to sort of glide a little bit more, this is the one you want to look at, because that tail as well as the flat side, it isn't a fully rounded out bait, but that flat side causes the bait to settle a little bit slower. It doesn't dart or kind of nosedive nearly as much. And then I got dark smelt, which is kind of like a pearl and purple. I've just been on this kick, dude. I absolutely love dropping on fish because I really like using technology like forward-facing sonar. I know a lot of you guys hate it and there's a lot of hate around for it, but I'm down with anything that shows me how these fish behave and allows me to sort of get up and close personal, go one-on-one with them. And what's also cool with this technique is it's a lot like flipping. Like I know the fish are there, or I know there's some kind of cover there, but it reminds me a lot like flipping, where you're getting reaction bite either on the drop or when you kind of shake the bait up and down and they absolutely close the deal. But there was no review on YouTube, I think, for like minnow style baits to do some of this Demiki rigging, as well as this this basically pitching for structure fish, pitching on your forward facing sonar with minnow style baits, which are really some of the only plastics, soft plastics that work during the winter. But keying in on that absolutely supple plastic, because the cold water stops it from shaking, and then using some of those supplemental scents as well as the pheromone or whatever it is with the bait fuel that makes them close the deal. But hit that like and subscribe button. We will see you back from the garage, maybe doing some flipping, but definitely talking fishing. Tight lines, guys.